Hey guys, how you doing? It is Saturday. I'm sorry, Friday night. I'm with the kids today. Yeah, my name's David Cook. I have my kids every other weekend, and currently unemployed, doing Grubhub. The economic times are what they are. It is not that. It hasn't been a good year, has it? This year, 2024. That's okay. It's almost over. I look forward to it finishing, and because I always have hope. You gotta have hope. You gotta have hope, no matter what you're going through. If you don't have hope, you don't have nothing to live for. So the kids are upstairs playing. We just went to church because I sing in the choir there, here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Yeah, I've worn a lot of hats throughout my life. You probably couldn't guess that I'm not young anymore, but born in 1963. Grew up I was actually born in Japan. I was born in Japan. You'd be like, you don't look Japanese. Well, I was born in Japan because my mother and father, my dad was in the Navy, and I was there. I was born there in 1963 because he was there with my mom. And so apparently I learned a little bit of the language when I was a baby because I was there until I was like 3 or 4 years old. And came back to the U.S. in like 66 or 67, I think it was. And my brother Steve was born in Maine, and then Dad got medically discharged for having diabetes type 1, and we moved back to Fort Wayne, Indiana, where he grew up. And I went to school in Fort Wayne, and then graduated from high school, and I followed in my dad's footsteps and joined the Navy in the Advanced Electronics program. That was a good decision. Didn't know what I wanted to do out of high school. Didn't really care. Just having fun, playing sports. I was in baseball. And Dad was like, so what are you going to do, Dave? I'm going to graduate here soon. I was like, I don't know. Just having fun, Dad. So he brought up the idea of the Navy, like what he did. And I always respected my dad. And then that's what I did. I was excited about it. So I went to San Diego for a couple years, advanced electronics. And then they lined us all up at the graduation and said, you're going to Europe, you're going to the Philippines. And they pointed to me, you're going to Japan, you're going to there. I was like, Japan? I was like, I didn't know what to expect. I'd never eaten raw fish, let alone any much other type of fish. Basically, fillet of fish from McDonald's is the only thing I ever knew. So, yeah, that was an experience. Went to Japan and learned the language pretty quick because I was born there. So that was meant to be, I guess. I went to Japan and stayed there for a long time. Yeah, and now here I am, 2024, almost 2025, back in Indiana. Been back here since 2016. Spent most of my time in Japan, half my life, basically. And it's kind of like being uprooted, you know? It's like in midlife, you start all over again. That was a gamble. That was a big gamble. I could have stayed in Japan forever, or I could come back to the country of my citizenship, the U.S. So there are trade-offs in life, as you all know. Going to Japan was rewarding. I taught English to all ages. I facilitated English courses in many different, many different situations and scenarios. Business English, travel English, because they learn English in Japan a little bit, but they do. It's like a second language. And so I did all that kind of stuff in Japan. It was really rewarding. I could speak the language fluently. Um, the trade-off of living in Japan for such a long time is you miss out on your own U.S. culture. So I think I sort of became Japanese a little bit on the inside. And yeah, so then I took a big gamble because after being in Japan for 35 years or whatever, overall, I still felt that I was treated like especially like a guest, you know. So it's a little bit different when you're in the States. It doesn't really matter what you look like. People are just treated the same as everybody else because we're a melting pot. But in Japan, there's mostly Japanese people. So if you look like me and you speak the language fluently, you use chopsticks fluently, you know all the culture and you do everything just like they do, you're still different and you're still sort of considered like an outsider, unfortunately. So I realized, wow, it really doesn't matter how old I get, I'm going to be treated like an outsider. So I made a big decision in 2015, 2016 that I was going to come back to the States. And one of my friends who owned a company there in Japan that did business with the in the U.S., specifically with Japanese automakers, you know, he had a good idea that I would work for him. So, sort of as a liaison, I did that. I came back to the States 2016, the very beginning part of 2016, worked for his company, traveling to Toyota and Subaru and just basically around the Midwest. And that was way before COVID. That was like 2017, 2018, 2016, 2017, 2018. And then that went sour a little bit. So that was sort of, we didn't really do well that. So I moved over to another company called Meiji. I did these companies because I had the Japanese speaking ability, and I assisted Japanese engineers that were here in the States and needed help with their English language. So that's what I did. And then the marriage. Yeah, I was married. The marriage went sour. It went really bad. And that's how I had these two right here. These two right here, Nate and Gemma. Hi, Nate. Hi, Gemma.
Hi.
Yeah, these two lovely kids. And these two are why I am still in Indiana. These are the ones that got me here, because I'd probably be, I lived in Japan for the most part, and I probably would be back in Japan right now. I lived in Japan for the most part, and I'd probably be back there because out of the blue in 2019, without any kind of word or any kind of anything, she was like, I want a divorce. So I was shocked, to say the least. I was shocked. Beautiful kids, beautiful family. She wanted a divorce. So that, we're still trying to recover from that. At least I am. The kids are resilient. Obviously, they're fine. Kids are kids. Good thing, huh? So yeah. So when the divorce happened, everything fell through. The finances, the work. I couldn't concentrate. So I decided to, of all things, become a truck driver. Yeah, something I never ever imagined I would do in my life. I mean, going from the Navy as an electronics sonar technician, from then into Japan while I was in Japan, because I've sang all my life. I was a singer actually a long time ago, a lot older than the other David Cook that you've probably heard of, and I sang way before him, but not as famous as him, obviously. But I sang all around in Japan, and I DJ'd and MC'd. I did all that type of work. And of course, the ESL, English as a Second Language lessons. So I did a lot of things, wore a lot of hats, and but never ever in my life. I did like driving. I did like driving. I liked driving all around, wherever I was in Japan. And the funny thing is I was always asked to drive for people. We'd go to Korea, and I would be like the driver to drive people to wherever they needed to go when I was on duty. In Japan, I would drive everywhere, and in the States, like in 1982 when I was in boot camp, I remember driving from San Diego back to Indiana in my new Datsun 280Z. I was a happy camper. So I love driving. And so when I was in Japan, I also did tours. Yeah, I'm getting off track. I also did tours for people coming to the States. I would teach them this class called Travel English, and I would help them in their desire to be able to communicate when they come to the States for their different, tours and stuff, wherever they would go, Las Vegas or New York or Florida, wherever it was. And we would do the class for like 3 months, and at the end of 3 months, we would take a trip to the States, and I would let them use their newly learned skills at different scenarios like restaurant ordering or hotel check-ins and stuff like that. So it was really fun. It was really rewarding. I took golf golf tours of different golfers in Japan. So we would fly around, and we would go to different places, and I would drive and pick them up. And yeah, because these guys in Japan, they have a hard time speaking English. At the end of the day, they just can't communicate that well in English. So did that, but I like driving. So to get back to the truck driving stuff, I like driving. The truck driving was, I went to CDL school in 2019, just after the divorce. I thought, I'm going to be alone. I might as well drive truck and make money because I like driving around. I like to see beautiful USA. So that's what I did. Became a truck driver and did pretty good. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, my truck broke down. Tried to fix it. I spent all my savings on it. $50,000 later. It was just, it died. It was not worth putting any more money into it. So I lost the truck, and I lost the truck, and I was like, okay, now what am I going to do? My skill set is really tuned in for like Japan. Over there I was in demand. Over in Japan I was in demand. People would come to me. Could you teach us English? Could you sing for us? We got a party going on. Could you sing or could you DJ? It was just, I was an influencer over there. And I took a big risk to come back to the States. I love America. But what do you do when you're in your midlife, and you're starting all over and you don't really know? I mean, I had family. My dad passed away in 1990. My mom left us when I was 10 years old. So, I got brothers and that, but I mean, nobody's going to take care of you, So I've been, here it is, 2024. Yeah, since 2022, it's been rough. Since the truck broke down and died, it's just been tough. And then to culminate it, this year in February, oh my goodness. I mean, I've driven nearly 1 million miles in the truck. And this year in February, for the first time, my Garmin GPS on the dash went out when I was in Michigan on I-94. And I pulled over really quick so I could switch over to my iPhone for my GPS because I had to get to the destination, So I shifted over to that, and I had my phone on my lap, and I was driving around, and I was like, okay, where do I turn? So I was looking at it. I couldn't see it that well because I'm getting old. So I pulled it up above the window plane, my phone, to look at it. Lo and behold, Michigan Highway Patrol pulled me over. He says, do you know what I pulled you over for? I was like, no, I have no idea. I'm not overweight. I'm not speeding. He said, you were using your cell phone. I was like, I needed to use it to get to the place. So I got a ticket for using my cell phone as the GPS. And man, things have went downhill since then because no one will touch me. It's unbelievable. So I've been out of work. Here it is, almost New Year, and yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. I don't know if anybody out there will understand, but if I do W-2, and I did a couple of times, I worked as a W-2 for a Japanese company, as a matter of fact, in a month or two over the summer. And they really liked me. They put me in as logistic manager because I spoke the language. They had me driving around, meeting different customers, different types of logistics and stuff. The pay, okay. The culture was really good. It was right here in Fort Wayne. The culture was wonderful. The boss was was awesome. Very, very small company. There was like 10 of us, including me. And lunch was wonderful. They provided lunch every single time. And I miss Japanese lunch so badly. I love rice. I'm a rice guy now. Growing up in Indiana, of course, I was bread and typical stuff that American people eat. But, since I've lived overseas, especially in Asia, I love rice so much. I eat rice with almost everything. And so, yeah, he provided all that kind of good Japanese food. And but he paid me good. It wasn't that great. But just as a W-2, they take out so much. And it was just like, it wasn't worth it. So I decided to be 1099. I started my business in 2020, just after the divorce. And I decided, yeah. So I put together an entity called Gemnatech, named after my children. Gemma is Gem, and Nate is Nate, and C at the end is cook. So Gem, Nate, or Na Tech, because I want to give it to them someday. Whoops, dropped my phone. I want to give it to them someday, but at any rate, I was saying that, yeah, right now, this is what I'm doing every day. We just had Christmas. This time of year is tough. It's been tough since the divorce. Growing up in Indiana, Christmases were always the best time of the year. Just like the song says, it's the best time of the year. And but nowadays, it's Christmas is like, oh gosh. And I'm a Christian. I know Jesus is the reason for the season. That's for sure. It's just, it gets lonely, but I try not to focus on myself. That's key. When you're down and out, try not to focus on your sorrows. Try to shift that energy to help people. If you could help somebody, help them, because there's people out there that need help. You just don't know it. You don't see it. So if I think I got it bad, I really need to remember that there's people out there that have it much worse than I do. Yeah, I might not have a job. Yeah, I'm not behind bills yet. Not sure how I'm going to pay the upcoming rent. But God will provide. I'm sure He will. And what I'm seriously focusing on here is not trading my time for money one-to-one. That is what I'm focused on doing, but I have to really apply myself, because when you get this age, I was born in 1963, remember? When you get this age, it's like you just want to, you get into that thing where you like to come home from work or whatever and just sit back and veg out on the TV, but that's not, I don't have time to do that. So what I am going to focus on doing in this day and age, AI is where it is, as we all know. And if we take advantage of it, it's going to change the landscape of everything. And I'm going to be on the ground floor of that. I know it's been around for a couple of years already, but I don't think people realize what all they can do. And I think I'm in the perfect position to get started on something, because I have nothing right now. I have my kids. I have me. I don't have anything to lose, really. So I just got to buckle down and learn these systems. I'm going to have passive income. Well, multiple streams of income, and then eventually passive income. And my goal is by the time I'm 65, which is 4 more years. But I can do it if I really buckle down. I can do it, and that's what I'm going to do. You know, for my children, they're my why. You know, do it for your kids. So in the next episode, I will go over exactly what I'm doing, what different YouTube channels that I'm watching, because there are some people out there that have some good material, and it just takes buckling down and doing it, you know, using your time wisely, because we all have limited 24 hours a day. So how you use it is going to be key. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off for now. It's almost 10 p.m. And we'll see you soon. Peace out.